First of all, we're going to take a look at the plus sign, since we already saw that in the previous video. The plus sign simply takes the previous character and continues to match that character until it finds something else. So if we have a random string like here with lots of G's in it, and we would perform a G plus match, note that I have global turned off for the sake of this tutorial, we would select all the G's until it finds something else. We call this a greedy match, and it will return as many of the characters, in this case a G, as possible and matches one or more of it. To make this match lazy, we call that lazy, so that it matches as few occurrences of the character as possible. You can put a question mark behind it. And now it matches as few G's as possible. So it will look for the G, it will match it once or more, but as few times as possible, so that is once. So it will just match one G. Not a very useful example, but it shows how it works. Next there's the star symbol, which does essentially the same thing as the plus sign, except it matches 0 or more of the preceding character. The difference between the star symbol and plus symbol, therefore, is that the star doesn't necessarily match anything. Right now, it's exactly the same as the plus symbol. It will match 0 or more characters until it finds something else. Once again, this is a greedy match. If we make this match lazy again by using the question mark, you see it matches nothing, because it doesn't have to. It will match 0 or more, but then it will match as few as possible, and that means nothing. Now, this may seem kind of useless to you right now, but we will use this in the real world example that I will give in the next video, and that's when its use will become quite clear. Then there's also just the question mark. This simply says that the character in front of it is optional, that it is not necessary to match that character. The difference between this and the star symbol is that the star symbol tries to match 0 or more times, whereas the question mark tries to match 0 or 1. A possible use for this would be, once again, with the British and American spelling conflict. If we wanted to match both variants of the word color, and we could then use something like this. This is how the British would spell it. This is how the American people would spell it. So we can just make that U optional. And now if we put both variants of color in it, and of course turn global on, we see that both get matched. And that is the question mark. So you see now that the question mark has, that we see here as well, it has different meanings, and you really have to watch out with how you use it. If you put it in the wrong place with the wrong intention, your regular expression can get quite messed up, and it may be difficult to find the error. Now, the last thing in regard to these so-called repetition characters is that you can also limit the amount of times you want to repeat a match. This is done by using curly braces, to which you can pass two parameters of sorts. The first one being the minimum amount of times you want to repeat the match, and second being the maximum amount of times you want to repeat the match. So let's get back to this G and random characters and more G's and more random characters. Say we wanted to match the G 5 times, we would do this. So you can also omit the second parameter completely. If we want to match it, say, 2, 3, or 4 times, we would do 2, 4. Now let's turn global off, and now you see it matches 4 G's. Let's get rid of this. It will still match 3 G's. It will match 2 G's, but once we get rid of the second G, it won't match anymore. Now note that you can also do this, and that will be exactly the same as using the star symbol. And in the same way you can use this 1, nothing to simulate the plus symbol. Now, with all that behind us, we're going to start working with a real-world example. I'm going to guide you through how to build a big regular expression, and I'm going to do that in the next part.